I know that yesterday I had asked you guys to try. We did 7 and 9 together, and I asked you to see what you could do to finish up with the 8, 10, 11, and 12. Now, I know some of us did that. Some of us had it done before we left. Others of us took it with us and may or may not have finished it. What I want to do, I don't want to sit here and wait 5, 10, 15 minutes to have people finally finish those up. I'm going to go through those 4 with you. And then I want us to focus on some time. If you look at set number 3 mixes everything together that we worked on yesterday and what we're going to finish up here in these just first few minutes. So what I ask is that if you didn't try them, follow along with me and get the steps down. Ask questions if you need to. If you did them already, still follow along and make sure you're correct. Okay, we showed yesterday how to check your answers, and some of us aren't doing that. Or we are checking, we're not getting the right answer, and then we're not going back and fixing. That's the idea of checking, and I don't think I made that clear yesterday. When you check, if I check 45 divided by 5, if I don't get 9 like I should, I need to go back and fix. I need to go back and retry, okay? So if we look at number 8, we're on the very front side of the packet, number 8. We talked yesterday that when the -7's right next to the P, what operation are we working with? Multiplying, yeah. And if we need to, we look on our sheet and we see that to undo multiplication, what operation do we use? We divide. Okay? Now, some of us yesterday, we were struggling with that. If I came around and talked to you about the question, you were able to tell me the operation we needed to do. So if you need to, check back on your sheet. So we're going to divide, and we looked at number 7 yesterday, and we saw that the easiest way to show that division was just with those little fraction bars. That's the easiest way to show the division. If you want to do the sign with the 2 dots in the line, you can. But I think this is the easiest way. We also talked yesterday that there's nothing wrong with, absolutely nothing wrong with, putting -56 divided by -7 in the calculator. Okay? Grab the calculator, guys, every day when you come in. You're going to want it. So -56 divided by -7. If I put that in the calculator, I get +8. We get +8. Now here's the part that some of us are kind of skipping out on. And I get it, if you run out of space going down in the box, there's space off to the side. I can do my check. I can do my check off to the side. And that's okay. If you run out of room working down in the box, because you write a little bigger, that's okay. Do the check off to the side. Make sure the left side equals the right side. If it doesn't check, go back and retry. Maybe we divided and we should have added, or we should have subtracted. Maybe we chose the wrong operation, and our check is going to show us that. Okay, so that's how we know. I want you guys, when we're going through these, I want you to try what you think first. Just like our opening activity for the unit with the computers. I want you to try what you think first. And then when you do your check, if it doesn't work, then that's when the hand needs to go up. Miss Golly, I did multiplication on this one and I'm not getting the right answer. Is multiplication not the right choice? Those are great things to ask. But if we just sit there and not try, I don't know what you're thinking. We've got 4 different options. We're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. It's narrowed down, guys. You only have 4 possible choices to solve. Pick one and try it. If we flip our sheet over and we look at question 10, we did question 9 together yesterday. The first thing we want to do is, first of all, pick out where our variable is. It's over on the right side. And we want to pick out what operation is with that variable. So what does that bar mean again? What does the bar mean, guys? Sam?
It means like multiply.
The bar doesn't mean multiply, it means to divide. The bar means to divide. So if I have to, I'm like, okay, that's division. If I have to flip my sheet back over and look at our inverse boxes, what undoes division? If I have to flip my sheet over and look at that resource, that's a great choice. That's helping myself. So to undo division, we should multiply. So I'm going to multiply. I'm just going to use the little dot because otherwise it looks like an X. I'm going to multiply. Sorry, that dot looks like a minus sign. Let me fix that. I'm going to multiply both sides. Remember, it's like a scale. We got to keep it balanced. I'm going to multiply both sides by -8. Multiplying by -8, that undoes the division. So there's my R. And then if I need to on that left side, I'm going to pop in the calculator, -8 times 2. If I need to put in the calculator, I put it in. And we should get -16. -8 times 2. If you need to put it in the calculator, please do so. And then make sure, guys, this is so awesome. I know we talked about this day one. You can check. You can check every answer. If you don't have room underneath, go over to the side of the box and check. When you check, you rewrite the original equation, but instead of putting the R, I replace it or I substitute the value I got for it. So -16 divided by -8, yes. That equals 2. My equation is balanced. That equals 2. My equation's balanced. So again, if you did try these for today, make sure you're checking as you go. I'm hoping you already checked. If you didn't try these coming in today, you came in with these 4 blank, fill in as we go. Follow along piece by piece. All right, 2 more that I want to go through with you. Then I want to give you guys a chance to do a lot of practice today and really make sure we're solid on this piece. All right, so if I look at question 11, some of you got to question 11 yesterday and you got stuck, but you know what the awesome thing was? I had a lot of people raise their hand, Miss Holly, what's going on with that -K? I know I had at least 3 people ask me that. So instead of just choosing to sit there and being confused by -K, I had 3 of you that raised your hand, Miss Holly, I don't know what to do with this. And that is awesome. That's awesome that we're asking. All right, so -K. Those of you that raised your hand yesterday said, Miss Holly, I don't get this. I said, well, there's a negative there, but what number is really with that?
7.
What number is really with that? Mathematicians are lazy. What number don't we like to write? We don't like to write ones. Yep. So if you need to, guys, I know there's not a lot of space in front of it, but if you need to rewrite that and put the -1 there, you sure can. So now number 11 looks just like numbers 7 and 8. When that -1 is right next to the K, that means multiply. The inverse, or to go opposite, to undo, we're going to divide. We're going to divide by that -1. Again, if you need to rewrite that, or if you can squeeze the 1 in there, I can't on my screen. I can't squeeze the 1 in there. Mathematicians were lazy. I don't know why they chose to not write the 1. So I do my division, and we get K equals -7. I check. I really wanted to make sure I talked to you about this one with the check.
Wait, we're dividing what?
By -1. Sorry, does that right side look like another 7 with that bar there? There we go. So now when we check, there's a negative sign in front of the K, and then there's a negative sign in front of my solution of -7. So there ends up, when we check, we end up with a double negative. When we check, we end up with a double negative. Notice also, guys, when I'm checking my answers, And number 10 around the -8. Oh, I'm sorry, number 11. I'm putting parentheses around there. Same as a number 7, same as a number 8. Put parentheses when you substitute in. A double negative, what's that going to turn that 7 into? Negative negative is going to make it a? What do you think? Positive. So 7 equals 7. Yes, we did it right. So for a lot of these today, you shouldn't have to raise your hand and say, did I do this right? You should be able to check. If you're not sure how to check, that's a great thing to ask today. We've only been solving equations, guys, a couple days. This is only day 3. And for a lot of you, based on that opening activity, this is the first time you've ever solved equations. It doesn't look familiar to you. And some of you have seen it before, or at least some pieces of it. Last but not least, number 12. We see that fraction bar again. Fraction bar means divide. So if we're dividing, we need to undo that by multiplying. Now, -12 times -6, that's going to have to be a pretty big number. Throw it in your calculator. We get 72, a positive 72. If you're not sure how to put negatives on your calculator, guys, that's another great question to ask. I check. I have 72 divided by -6. Does that give me -12? Yes, it does. So yes, it does. So now what you guys have, what you have on the front side of this sheet, and now these top 4 problems on the back side, you have an awesome resource. We did a bunch of addition and subtraction equations yesterday. We just finished up our multiplication division. So now what you have, question numbers 13 to 24. 13 to 24, everything's a little bit mixed up. Everything's a little bit mixed up. So let's go ahead and let's do, what do we got? 12. So let's do this. Let's do the top 6, 13 through 18. Let's do the top 6, and then we'll take a little break. Let's do the top 6, and then we'll take a break. All right, so now that we've had a chance to try 13 through 18, let's take a look at the solutions for those. Number 13, we have subtraction. So to undo subtraction, or its inverse, would be to use addition. So we would add 11 to both sides. So x equals positive 8. To check it, we put the positive 8 back in for x. And we end up with -3 equals -3. It checks. In number 14, when the -10 is right next to the d, that means -10 times d. So to undo multiplication, we use division. So we're going to divide both sides by -10. So we end up with d equals -4. We substitute it back in, -10 times -4. Does that give us 40? And yes, it does. Positive 40 equals positive 40. In number 15, we see a plus 15. So to get a by itself, we have to undo the plus 15. So we're going to minus 15. So we have a equals 2 minus 15 is -13. Put it back in and check. -13 plus 15. Does that equal 2? Yes, it does. The number 16, it looks a little bit different. We see a plus h, but we don't want to subtract h to the other side. we want to leave h alone. We want to get h by itself. So on the same side as the h, we have a -3. The inverse, or to undo -3, would be +3. So we have 27 equals h. So 24 equals -3 plus 27. So 24, -3 plus 27, that also equals 24. We check out. In number 17, we have m divided by 3. Remember that fraction bar means division. So to undo that division, we're going to multiply both sides by -3. So we end up with -3 times -4 is +12. And we're left with just an m over on the right. To check, -4 equals, we put 12 in for m. 12 divided by -3 is -4. It checks. The last one of these 6 that I asked you to try is number 18. Number 18 looks really, really similar to number 11 that I did at the beginning of class today. In front of the y, there's really a -1 if you can squeeze it in there. The -1 is right next to the y, which means we're multiplying. So to undo multiplication, we use division. +9 divided by -1 is -9, and we just have a y left over on the right. Now, when we go to check, 9 equals, we have a negative sign that's in front of the y. There it is, negative and a negative. Now, in place of the y, we substitute our -9. So this negative sign that's in front is the negative sign that was part of the original equation. Double negative is going to make that 9 positive, so it does check out. What I want you to try, and we're going to check at the beginning of class tomorrow, are the last 6 on this page. Now, I have had some questions on number 19, so I do want to go through number 19 before we end today. In number 19, we have -47 plus w. So I know if we see the plus w, we're thinking, well, we should subtract. Well, if I subtract 47, I'm going to know in a couple different ways why that's not the right choice. -47 minus 47 over on the left side is going to be -94. They don't cancel out. They don't give me a 0. Now, if I don't notice that, though, and I keep going on this path, if I keep going on that path, and I say that w equals -57, here's where the check is super important. If I put -57 in for w, I have -47 plus -57, and that's supposed to equal -10. But if I put this in my calculator, I get -104. That doesn't equal -10. So there's a couple different places I can tell that subtracting 47 is not the right choice. Our goal, remember, is to get the variable by itself. Our goal is to get the variable by itself, so we've got to get the w by itself. In order to do that, I need to move the -47 to the other side. So the inverse, or the opposite, of -47 is going to be positive. So we're going to plus or add 47 to both sides. -47 plus 47 gives me 0. That gives me w all by itself on the left. -10 plus 47 gives me +37. If I put that in check, -47 plus 37 Does that equal negative 10? That's what we're trying to see. And yes, I get negative 10 equals negative 10. It checks out for us. So to finish up today, we want to finish off questions 20 through 24.